Hello there, and welcome back to the quiet side of the universe. Tonight, we drift far beyond the noise of Earth, past the clouds, past the satellites, past even the warm glow of our own Milky Way to meet a neighbor so enormous, so ancient, and so quietly present in our night sky that most people never realize it's there at all. The Andromeda Galaxy. You've seen the pictures, the bright spirals, the glowing core, the gentle arms swimming through a sea of stars. But those images are so carefully cropped, so perfectly framed, that they hide something remarkable, a secret that only reveals itself when you slow down enough to imagine the sky as it truly is. Because Andromeda is big, bigger than anything your eyes have ever tried to hold. Bigger than our Milky Way, bigger than every landscape you've ever walked under, bigger than the quiet horizon you see from your window tonight. And yet, it is right there, above you, drifting in silence. If your eyes were just a little more sensitive, if you could gather starlight the way a camera does, Andromeda would stretch across the night like a ghostly lantern, not a tiny blur, not a distant smudge, but a shining arc 6 times wider than the full moon, a pale, soft ellipse that would follow you as you walked, as if the universe itself were holding a candle to light your dreams. Tonight, we're going to wander into that vastness together. We'll explore what Andromeda really looks like, how far it reaches, how many stars it holds, and why its true size is almost impossible for the human mind to understand at first glance. But don't worry, we're not here to rush through numbers or fire hose facts. We're here to drift, to breathe, to let the scale of the cosmos settle into you slowly, like mist over calm water. Because Andromeda isn't just an object in space. It's a story of distances so large they become poetic. A story of light traveling for millions of years just to touch your eyes tonight. A story of 2 galaxies, ours and theirs, floating toward each other through an ocean of darkness, destined to meet in a slow motion embrace billions of years from now. For now, though, it waits, and so do we. So make yourself comfortable. Let the weight of the day dissolve into the background. Let your breathing soften until it feels like tiny tides moving through you. Above the earth, above the atmosphere, above everything you have ever known, a spiral galaxy, the size of a quiet eternity, is glowing faintly in the dark. This is the real Andromeda, older than our world, larger than our imagination. And tonight, it's yours to explore. Whenever you're ready, let's begin. Chapter 1. A galaxy hidden in plain sight. If you were to walk outside on a quiet night, perhaps one where the air feels still, the world has softened, and even the moon seems undecided about whether it wants to shine, you might look up at the sky and think you see nothing unusual at all. A few stars, a gentle darkness, perhaps the faint glow of a nearby city, nothing that hints at anything extraordinary. And yet, suspended above you every single night is something so enormous, so ancient, so quietly present, that most people live their entire lives without ever realizing it's there. The Andromeda Galaxy. Not in a textbook, not in a NASA image, but in the real sky, your sky hovering just beyond the edge of human perception. If you know exactly where to look on a perfectly dark night, you might catch a faint, misty smear, a soft oval like breath on glass. Most people mistake it for a tiny cloud. Others barely notice it at all. But that haze, that barely visible whisper of light, is the nearest spiral galaxy to our own. A colossal star city containing 1 trillion suns, stretched across hundreds of thousands of light years. The only reason it appears so small is because your eyes were not built for galaxies. Your eyes evolved to see faces, danger, food, firelight, shelter. They were never designed to gather ancient starlight that has been traveling toward you for 2.5 million years. They weren't made to perceive the full width of a galactic disk so wide that it would cover a stretch of sky 6 times larger than the full moon if it were bright enough. You see only the core, a tiny, concentrated drop of light in the center. The rest of Andromeda, the vast disk of stars, the spiraling arms, the glimmering halo, the drifting clusters, all of it is hidden in plain sight, spread across the night above you like a painting rendered in ink too faint to hold. And yet, it's there. This is the strange, beautiful paradox of Andromeda. It is both one of the most prominent features in our night sky and nearly invisible, one of the largest objects you can possibly see with your bare eyes, and one of the easiest to overlook. If you could suddenly switch on your galaxy vision, the sky would transform instantly. Andromeda would swell across your view, a shimmering oval glowing like a lantern hung in the darkness. The Milky Way would no longer feel lonely. You would understand viscerally that we live not in isolation, but in a cosmic neighborhood shared with giants. Tonight, as you settle deeper into stillness, imagine your senses shifting. Imagine your eyes becoming ancient instruments of light, capable of gathering photons so faint and so old that they drifted through a universe younger than human memory. The hazy oval becomes clearer, the faint glow sharpens, and suddenly you begin to see the full, breathtaking truth. You are standing under a galaxy. Every time you breathe, ancient starlight gently washes over you, light that left its home before humans existed, before ice ages and empires, before languages and stories. Light older than everything you have ever known. You may never have noticed Andromeda before, but it has always noticed you, quietly, patiently, waiting for a night like this, a night where your mind is open, your pace is slow, and the world around you has dimmed enough for wonder to slip through the cracks. As you sink into the rhythm of your breathing, imagine Andromeda hovering above you not as an abstract concept, but as a presence, a silent neighbor, a shimmering companion floating in the dark, drifting toward us across millions of years in a dance, so slow you can't feel the movement, but so certain it will shape the future of both galaxies. In this moment, you are connected to it not through imagination, but through physics. The photons touching your eyes tonight are the final echoes of a journey that began before Earth's earliest ancestors ever looked up at the sky. You are not merely observing Andromeda, you are witnessing ancient history arriving at its destination. A galaxy hidden in plain sight, a reminder that the universe is always larger, always deeper, always more extraordinary than it first appears. And now, as the night deepens around you, the story of Andromeda is ready to unfold slowly, gently, one drifting chapter at a time. Chapter 2, a journey across 2.5 million light years. If you close your eyes for a moment, you might notice something gentle happening. The mind begins to drift, thoughts loosen, the body softens, and the sense of space around you widens. In this softened state, you can begin to grasp something the waking mind usually struggles with: distance on a cosmic scale. Because the story of Andromeda cannot be told without talking about the breathtaking gulf that lies between us. 2.5 million light years, a number so vast that it behaves more like a feeling than a fact. A single light year, just one, is already beyond ordinary understanding. It's the distance light travels in a vacuum in 1 year, moving at 299,792 kilometers per second. Every second, light circles Earth 7 times. Every minute, it races farther than airplanes fly in an entire lifetime. Every hour, it crosses the distance between Earth and the Moon dozens of times over. Now imagine it running uninterrupted for a year. Then imagine that span repeated 2.5 million times. That is the space between the Milky Way and Andromeda. But cosmic distance is not meant to be reduced to equations. It's meant to be breathed into, slowly, like settling into deep water. Let the numbers fall away for a moment and imagine instead the journey. Picture a single photon of light leaving a star on the outskirts of Andromeda's spiral arm. It begins its voyage not with urgency, but with silent determination, a calm traveler carrying the memory of its birthplace. It drifts past glowing nebulae, past drifting clusters of newborn suns, past ancient red giants fading into darkness. It passes through the halo of Andromeda, where scattered stars orbit like lonely lanterns. It slips into the intergalactic void, a region where the nearest object might be light years away, and where silence takes on a weight of its own. For millions of years, this photon travels. No rest, no interruption, only forward motion. Entire mountain ranges rise and vanish on Earth while it moves through emptiness. Entire species appear and disappear. Oceans shift. Ice ages come and go. Civilizations are born, thrive, collapse, and are forgotten, all while the photon continues quietly toward a destination it will never know. And then tonight, in the privacy of your quiet moment, it touches your eye. Its journey ends. Its story becomes part of yours. This is what it means to look at Andromeda. You are seeing ancient light completing an unimaginably long pilgrimage. Distance, in this sense, becomes something sacred, a bridge between the present and a past far older than humanity. The photons reaching you tonight left their home before the first humans discovered fire, before our ancestors shaped tools or painted caves. They began traveling when Earth was dominated by windswept plains and early mammals learning to survive in a world ruled by ice and stone. So what does 2.5 million light years really feel like? It feels like standing at the shoreline of time. It feels like touching a message written long before your name existed. It feels like recognizing that you, too, are part of a universe where patience is measured, not in hours, but in eras. Andromeda teaches us that distance does not diminish connection. It deepens it. The galaxy is far, unimaginably far, yet its light still finds you, softly, quietly, persistently, as if reminding you that no matter the scale, every story in the universe is, in some small way, intertwined. Tonight, as you breathe slowly and allow your thoughts to drift like dust through starlight, imagine yourself floating in that vast space between galaxies. You are suspended in darkness, but the darkness is gentle, spacious, and full of possibility. Behind you glows the Milky Way, ahead Andromeda, two giants drifting toward each other across millions of years. You are not lost in that space. You are part of it, a witness to its silence, a moment in its immense timeline. This is the journey of 2.5 million light years, a journey that ends not with sound or spectacle, but with the quiet arrival of starlight to your resting eyes. Chapter 3: The True Shape of a Giant. When you picture a galaxy, your mind probably conjures a perfect spiral, elegant arms sweeping outward in symmetrical curves, glowing lanes of dust, and a bright, circular center. It's the classic image, polished, balanced, almost too perfect. But real galaxies, like real lives, are rarely so tidy. Andromeda is no exception. If you could see its full structure with clarity, not the cropped images in textbooks, but the true shape revealed through decades of observation, you would find something far more interesting. A living, breathing system full of irregularities, scars, memories, and hidden layers. Let's begin with the part you're most familiar with, the disk. The disk is the glowing plane where most of Andromeda's stars reside, a broad, sweeping platter of starlight that rotates gracefully around the center. Within this disk lie spiral arms, though they are not as cleanly defined as you might imagine. They twist, blend, break apart, reform. Some sections are thick with young blue stars, others are faint, dusty, and ancient. Galaxies are not sculpted with a ruler. They evolve through chaos, collisions, mergers, and tidal distortions, and Andromeda carries the signatures of every past encounter. Much of its lopsided shape likely comes from ancient cannibalism. Over billions of years, Andromeda has devoured smaller galaxies passing too close, pulling them apart like threads and weaving their remnants into its expanding body. Every distorted cluster, every smeared stream of stars, every asymmetrical ripple in its disk tells a story of something that once was separate, now absorbed. Beyond the disk lies something more difficult to imagine, the galactic halo. The halo is not a solid structure but a vast, diffuse cloud stretching much farther than Andromeda's bright arms. If the visible disk is like a city glowing at night, the halo is the countryside surrounding it, quiet, immense, and sparsely populated. But sparse does not mean empty. The halo contains ancient stars, some of the oldest Andromeda has drifting like solitary lanterns in a sea of darkness. It also contains remnants of galaxies long consumed, streams of stars stretched into thin, ghostly arches. And hidden within the halo lies something even more mysterious, dark matter, an invisible scaffolding that gives Andromeda much of its mass and holds its structure together. When astronomers measured this halo, they realized the galaxy was far larger than anyone expected. Not 150,000 light-years wide, not 180,000, but possibly 220,000 to 260,000 light-years across, nearly twice the diameter of the Milky Way, invisible to the naked eye, but enormous beyond imagination. And then there is the core, the glowing heart of Andromeda. At first glance, it looks like a single bright point, but deep inside, hidden by blinding starlight and clouds of dust, there are two nuclei, two bright clumps orbiting each other like companions locked in an ancient gravitational embrace. Many scientists believe this double core is the result of a past merger, a smaller galaxy spiraling inward until it was consumed, its center preserved as a second heart. Imagine the slow, majestic choreography of that event, a smaller spiral falling inward, its stars torn apart, its core sinking deeper and deeper until it joined Andromeda's own, a galaxy wearing the memory of another inside itself. Every part of Andromeda, the disk, the arms, the halo, the twin hearts, reveals something important. True size is not always visible. Some things are too big, too faint, or too ancient for the eye to grasp at once. But your imagination can grasp it. Your breath can wander into its shape. Your mind can let itself expand outward, slowly, until you feel the enormity of a galaxy not as a measurement, but as a sensation, wide, deep, layered, and alive. And as you let that image settle into your thoughts, you begin to understand Andromeda is not a perfect spiral. It is a cosmic autobiography, the record of billions of years written in starlight and distortion and the quiet momentum of survival. A giant with history, a giant with depth, a giant with a shape shaped by time itself. Chapter 4: The Two Hearts of Andromeda. If you travel inward, past the sprawling spiral arms and the drifting halo of ancient stars, you eventually reach the blazing center of Andromeda, a core so bright that its light drowns everything around it. To the naked eye, it appears as a single, brilliant point, but as with many things in the universe, what seems simple from a distance becomes far stranger when you look closely. Because Andromeda does not have one heart, it has two. Astronomers discovered this only when powerful telescopes resolved the core with enough clarity to peel back its layers. Instead of a single nucleus, the glowing concentration of stars typical of spiral galaxies, they found two distinct clusters of light, two dense swirls of ancient suns sitting side by side, orbiting around a shared gravitational center, like cosmic companions moving in slow, dignified circles. One is bright, sharp, and dominant. The other is fainter, offset, almost shy, as though it is trying to remain hidden within the glow of the larger core. Why would a galaxy have two hearts? The most likely answer is both dramatic and beautiful. Andromeda consumed another galaxy. Millions or billions of years ago, a smaller companion was drawn inward by Andromeda's gravity. As it spiraled closer, its stars were stripped away in long glowing streams, its structure unraveled, its shape dissolved, but its nucleus, the dense cluster of stars at its center, survived. It sank into Andromeda's core and settled there, preserved as a second heart, a memory of a galaxy that was swallowed, yet not erased. This quiet, ancient merger still shapes Andromeda today. The two cores circle each other slowly, completing an orbit over hundreds of thousands of years. Their gravity stirs the surrounding stars, stretching some paths into elongated ovals. Their dance creates a lopsided glow that gives Andromeda's center its distinctive asymmetry. And if you pause to imagine it, this slow duet of two stellar hearts, you may feel a strange comfort. Even galaxies carry their past within them. Even galaxies are shaped by encounters, collisions, losses, and reunions. Andromeda's core is not smooth or perfect. It is layered with history, luminous scars left by the galaxies it absorbed. And in that realization, there is a quiet truth. The universe grows not by remaining untouched, but by merging, blending, and becoming something new. And from this intimate core, the story of Andromeda extends outward into its immense population of stars. Chapter 5: A Sea of 1 trillion stars. Pause for a moment, breathe softly, and imagine this. Every point of light you have ever seen in the night sky, every star, every flicker, every faint shimmer belongs to the Milky Way, about 200 to 400 billion stars, a staggering number until you compare it with Andromeda, because Andromeda contains 1 trillion stars, 1,000 billion. To understand this, imagine standing on a quiet shoreline at night. Each grain of sand beneath your feet could represent a star, and the entire beach might not be enough to capture them all. Andromeda is not just large, it is overflowing dense with suns that stretch across a disk more than 200,000 light-years wide and extending outward into a halo where ancient, lonely stars wander in isolation. 1 trillion stars, each with its own story. Some are blue giants, massive, fierce suns burning at temperatures that would turn worlds to vapor. They live fast and die young, roaring through their fuel in just a few million years before collapsing into supernovas brighter than entire galaxies. Some are red dwarfs, tiny, dim, stubbornly long-lived. These quiet embers can burn for trillions of years, outliving not just civilizations but the universe as we recognize it today. Some stars orbit closely in binary pairs, circling one another like celestial dancers. Others drift alone. Some are newborn, emerging from shimmering nebulae. Others are ancient, older than our sun by billions of years. And where there are stars, there are worlds, planets, moons, atmospheres, storms, oceans, landscapes sculpted by alien weather and seasons. Some worlds may be barren, others might hold ice. Some could be covered in thick clouds or volcanic plains, and just a few could circle their stars at just the right distance to harbor calm oceans, warm winds, and the quiet possibility of life. If just 1% of Andromeda's trillion stars had planets in their habitable zones, that would be 10 billion potentially life-friendly environments. 10 billion places where chemistry could take a breath and become something more. 10 billion seeds for stories we will never read, but which might be unfolding right now under alien skies. When you look at Andromeda, you are not looking at a single object. You are looking at a continent of suns, an ocean of light so vast that if you counted one star per second, it would take over 30,000 years to count them all. And yet from Earth, all of this, the trillion suns, the worlds, the nebulae, appears as a faint smear of light, quiet, gentle, almost nothing. It is a reminder that greatness is often subtle, that vastness can be hidden, that the universe does not need to shout to be immeasurable. And in this immense ocean of stars, one motion quietly shapes the future of both Andromeda and the Milky Way. Chapter 6: Andromeda's Motion, a Silent Approach. When most galaxies drift through the universe, they move away from us. Space is expanding, stretching like dough, carrying galaxies outward in every direction. This expansion is so universal that it has a name: the Hubble flow. Nearly everything in the cosmos participates in this outward drift, but not Andromeda. Andromeda is doing something rare, something quietly profound, something that feels almost poetic. It is moving toward us. At roughly 110 kilometers per second, Andromeda inches closer to the Milky Way every moment. The distance is so vast that the motion is invisible in the sky. The galaxy does not appear larger from one human lifetime to the next, but sensitive instruments measure its approach with extraordinary precision. The reason is gravity. The two largest galaxies in our local group, the Milky Way and Andromeda, are gravitational partners. They orbit a shared center of mass deep in the darkness between them. Slowly, gradually, irresistibly, they are falling toward each other. If you imagine the cosmos as a great ocean, Andromeda and the Milky Way are like two enormous ships drifting on slow, inevitable currents that will one day bring them together. This approach is not violent. It is not rushing. It is not a collision in the way two stones collide. It is a cosmic convergence, a meeting billions of years in the making. Over time, the two galaxies will spiral closer. Their halos will touch first, soft, invisible regions, meeting long before the visible disks do. Streams of stars will begin to stretch between them like glowing bridges. Patterns of motion will shift, orbits will distort, the night sky will change. But you, here in this quiet moment, do not need to worry. This union lies 4 to 5 billion years in the future, long after our sun has changed, long after Earth has transformed. For now, the only sign of this cosmic approach is a gentle tug, a whisper of motion through the void. And perhaps it is fitting that such an enormous event begins with something so quiet. The universe rarely announces its greatest transformations. It simply lets them unfold, one small movement at a time. And as we follow this motion into the future, the next chapter reveals what this meeting will become. Chapter 7, The Future Collision. A new galaxy awakens. If you could leap forward billions of years into the future, drifting through time the way starlight drifts through space, you would witness one of the most breathtaking events the universe will ever create: the merging of Andromeda and the Milky Way. The idea of two galaxies colliding might sound catastrophic, but the truth is gentler, so gentle, in fact, that you could float through the event without ever feeling a touch. In the beginning, the night sky from Earth would change in the most subtle, poetic way. Andromeda, which today appears as a faint smudge, would slowly brighten over millions of years. Its arms would widen, its glow would deepen, and eventually it would dominate the sky like a shimmering, celestial river. From the surface of some distant world, you might look up and see Andromeda stretching across the heavens like a cosmic sunrise, a bridge of stars crossing the dark. As the two galaxies draw closer, their gravitational fields begin to interact. The halos touch first, like two ghosts brushing against each other. Long, delicate streams of stars begin to pull loose from each galaxy, creating enormous tidal tails that stretch for thousands of light years, glowing faintly like threads of silk floating in the void. Then, slowly, so slowly you could live 1,000 lifetimes before anything dramatic occurs, the galaxies begin to overlap. Their disks pass through each other like waves, not walls. Stars swirl into new patterns. Clusters tug at one another. Nebulae are compressed, sparking bursts of star formation. It is not a collision, it is a transformation. New stars ignite like lanterns being lit across the sky. Bright blue giants blaze into existence, illuminating regions of gas that were once cold and quiet. Entire constellations rearrange themselves as the shapes of both galaxies distort and twist under the influence of gravity. Yet through all of this, something astonishing happens. Almost no stars actually collide. The space between stars is so vast, light years wide, that even during the merger of 2 trillion suns, the odds of any two stars hitting each other are almost non-existent. The cosmos is not crowded. It only feels that way in pictures. What will happen to our solar system? Most likely, it will be thrown into a new orbit around the combined center of the new galaxy. It may swing outward, drifting into the cosmic suburbs, or inward, closer to the galactic core. But long before this happens, the sun will have undergone its own transformation, swelling into a red giant and altering the fate of Earth. The story of humanity will unfold on its own timeline, separate from the slow ballet of galaxies. After several passes, each one taking hundreds of millions of years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will finally settle into a single, enormous elliptical galaxy. Smooth, rounded, and luminous, it will hold the combined mass and memories of both. Astronomers have given it a playful name, Milkdromeda, a fusion of identities, a new home for countless stars yet to be born. And in that slowly forming structure, the history of both galaxies will be preserved not in words or symbols, but in the orbits of stars, the shapes of clusters, and the quiet glow of ancient light. And as this new galaxy forms, the vastness that surrounds it continues to shape the story. Chapter 8: Understanding Scale Through Silence. When we speak of galaxies of millions of light years, of trillions of stars, of futures unfolding over billions of years, the human mind begins to retreat, not out of fear, but out of self-defense. Our brains did not evolve to comprehend distances so large that numbers lose their meaning, and that is why, sometimes, the best way to understand scale is through silence. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a slow breath. Let your awareness expand, not through thinking, but through feeling. Now imagine yourself standing in a vast, open plain at night. The air is still, the horizon is wide, the sky stretches endlessly in every direction. You feel small but peacefully so, not insignificant, but integrated into something greater. That sensation of being part of something endless is the closest the mind can come to grasping galactic scale. The size of Andromeda cannot be understood through numbers alone. A number like 260,000 light years wide is too large to truly feel, but if you treat it like a landscape, things change. Imagine walking in one direction for your entire life across continents, across oceans, across the arc of the Earth, and never reaching the edge of Andromeda's disk. Imagine billions of suns rising and setting around you as you journey. Imagine nebulae blooming like flowers of light. Imagine clouds of dust drifting taller than mountains, lit from within by newborn stars. Scale becomes emotional, experiential, quiet. In silence, the enormity becomes gentle, like watching ocean waves that stretch farther than you can see, knowing that their rhythm continues even if you cannot measure it. This, too, is scale. It is not the precision of mathematics, but the softness of perspective. When you let the vastness simply be, instead of forcing it into comprehension, it becomes a source of calm rather than confusion. The universe is immense, but you do not need to understand every measurement to feel its depth. The mind finds peace in spaciousness, and if you listen closely, you might notice that there is a kind of parallel between your inner world and the cosmos. Thoughts drift like stars, memories orbit like planets, emotions rise and fall in long, gentle cycles. You contain multitudes just as galaxies do, and that is the quiet secret. You are not separate from the universe you're trying to understand. You are made of it. The same atoms that burn in Andromeda's stars burn in you. The same quantum rules that guide galaxies guide your heartbeat. The same expansion that stretches space stretches the fabric of time you move through. In silence, scale becomes intimate, and once you feel that connection, the long space between our galaxies no longer feels empty, it feels alive. Chapter 9: The Threads That Connect Our Galaxies. Between the Milky Way and Andromeda lies a distance so vast that we call it intergalactic space. But this phrase is misleading. Space, even at its quietest, is never empty. It is filled with structure, with motion, with invisible relationships binding everything together. Imagine drifting through that space like a feather on a breeze, floating in a region where stars are rare, where darkness feels endless, where silence feels ancient. But even there, subtle forces are at work. The first and most important is gravity. Gravity is the thread that connects the Milky Way and Andromeda, drawing them toward each other across millions of light years. It is the same force that guides the moon around Earth, Earth around the sun, and stars around the cores of galaxies. But across intergalactic space, gravity behaves like a whisper, soft, patient, persistent. Between the two galaxies, there also exist rogue stars, lonely suns flung out of their home galaxies by gravitational encounters. These wanderers drift in solitude, carrying their planets, if they have any, with them like forgotten lanterns traveling the cosmic desert. There are streams of hydrogen gas stretched thinly across the void, relics of ancient events left over material from early collisions, silent reminders of a time when galaxies were closer together. There is dark matter, the invisible scaffolding that surrounds both galaxies, like a pair of vast, overlapping shadows. Dark matter does not shine, but it shapes everything. It defines the boundary of Andromeda's halo, guides the motion of its stars, and forms an unseen bridge between the two galaxies. There are even stray star clusters, torn from their homes and sent drifting into the space between, where they orbit nothing until gravity draws them back. And through all this emptiness, there is light, faint, ancient light traveling from galaxy to galaxy, whispering secrets of distant worlds. The space between the Milky Way and Andromeda might seem barren, but in truth, it is a dynamic ecosystem shaped by forces older than the first stars. And if you imagine yourself floating in that dark river between galaxies, you might feel something surprising. Not fear, not loneliness, but a sense of connection. Because even in the emptiness, there are threads of gravity, threads of matter, threads of time. The universe is not a collection of isolated islands, it is a web. And at the end of this web, at the farthest edge of our night sky, Andromeda waits quietly, glowing above you right now. Chapter 10: The Andromeda Above You Tonight. If you step outside on a clear night, far from city lights, far from noise, far from anything that demands your attention, and look up, you might see something faint, something soft, something almost not there. A pale oval, a ghostly smudge, a whisper of light suspended in the darkness. That is Andromeda. And now, knowing everything you know, it will never look the same again, because behind that faint glow lies a trillion stars, a double heart, a colossal halo, the memory of galaxies it devoured, the future of a merger with our own dollars, and the long journey of starlight across 2.5 million years. What appears small is not small. What appears faint is not weak. What appears distant is, in truth, touching you right now with ancient light. The photons that reach your eyes tonight began traveling before humanity existed, before language, before mountains rose where oceans once slept, before everything you know and love had a name. And yet they arrive patiently, softly crossing the darkness to meet you. Andromeda is vast, but so is your capacity for wonder. It is easy to forget this. Modern life compresses our sense of scale. Screens reduce the sky to a rectangle. Schedules shrink our imagination. We measure time in minutes and hours, not eras and epochs. But when you look at Andromeda, you reclaim something ancient, something every human once possessed: the ability to feel awe simply by looking upward. Stand quietly under the night sky. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist, and allow the universe to reveal itself not as a puzzle, but as a companion. Andromeda is not a distant stranger. It is part of your cosmic family, It shares the same origin, the same Big Bang, the same early dust, the same expansion, the same ancient web of matter and energy. Its atoms are your atoms. Its light now touches your skin. Its fate is intertwined with ours. And one day, long after we are gone, the two galaxies will merge. Their stars will swirl together. Their dust clouds will ignite with new suns. Their shapes will change, but their essence will remain a single, larger galaxy, carrying the memories of both. The universe is always moving, always changing, always merging, expanding, evolving, and yet, in this moment, everything is still. You, lying or sitting quietly, your breath rising and falling, your mind drifting, Andromeda glowing faintly above you as it has for millions of years. The universe is vast beyond measure, but tonight it feels close, soft, calm, and intimately connected to you. Let yourself rest in that feeling. Let the ancient starlight be a lullaby. Let the enormity of the cosmos make your worries feel light, because in this quiet moment, under this quiet galaxy, you are part of something beautiful, something ancient, something endless, something luminous, and that is enough.